Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be checking out the Flycolor Everwing. So this seems to be a complete package from Flycolor. The stack is the Flycolor Raptor S, it's the 20x20 version. The motors are Flycolor branded and the box has Flycolor written all over it. So it is a 2.4 inch brushless micro, which is quite a niche size. There's not many using this prop, and it costs around about £127 from GearBest at the making of this video. So this is the bind and fly version, and it comes with an XM Plus receiver. It doesn't have any RSSI on the aux channels, but most of these bind and flies are like that, and you have to reflash them if you want to have that. And you can get it as a plug and fly as well. It did come with the cable ties and heat shrink already attached, which I'm always a fan of because it's always a little bit of a pain to sort that out. Now, there have been some really interesting component choices here which might make this a non-starter, so I'll mention them now. The first one is that Flycolor don't use Betafly on-screen display. Instead, they use Multi-Wii on-screen display. Now, I prefer Multi-Wii on-screen display than nothing at all, but it does mean that the UART2 on this flight controller, which is an F3 flight controller by the way, has been taken up by the on-screen display. And the only other UART is for the receiver on the UART3, which means that there are no 3 UARTs. So, why does that suck? Well, the VTX that they have used has smart audio capabilities. It's the same VTX as the Mini Fight and the Genius. So, to get that working, you have to maybe remap a PPM pad and use a soft serial, which isn't straightforward. I made a video on the channel, just search for soft serial tutorial. And I think in this day and age there are better choices, but at the end of the day this is a Flycolor product, so you're going to be getting their components in this model. So, the next downside to this stack is the 4-in-1 ESC. It's only 12 amp with a 15 amp peak. Now, they are BL-Heli-S and D-Shot 600 capable, and 12 amp might be enough for a fairly low KV11 size motor, but these motors are a 1205, which I actually don't think I've seen before when it comes to sizing. So usually we're used to seeing an 1105 or an 1106 motor on a copter of this size. A 1205 motor has a wider stator, which means that it will produce more torque and therefore draw more amps. And that wouldn't be too much of a problem if they were low in kV, but these motors aren't. The website says they are 7000 kV, and these have come marked as 7500 kV. Now, they're saying that this system will take up to a 3-cell battery, and if you look at the majority of 11 size motors running a 3S, they don't usually go any higher than 6000 kV. So, to explain, kV is revs per minute per volt and without prop load. And if we take 7,500 RPM and times that by 12, aka a 3-cell battery under load, then that is 90,000 RPM. Or, alternatively, if we take 6,000 RPM, or 6,000 kV, and then times that by 15 volt, aka a 4-cell battery under load, then that's also 90,000 RPM. So what I'm saying is that running these motors on a 3S is similar to running a 6,000 kV motor on a 4S. Now, there's only one model that I can think of that is running these props on a 4S, and that's the Ishin Lizard 105S, and that has 28 amp ESCs and not 12 amp. So the reason I'm saying all of this is Nick Burns, I'm sure many of you are subscribed to his channel, he received this model and he had a fire. So it made me look into the calculations of this setup and ignore the manufacturer's advice, which of course I would normally follow as well. And when you look at the statistics and then add on the fact that it's a 1205 motor, I think it's inevitable that a 3-cell battery is going to break this system. So I think I'll be recommending a 2-cell battery for this model, which is going to put it down the pecking order even more, which is a shame because I think these motors had the potential to make this one a beast. So moving on, and the weight isn't actually too bad despite these bigger motors. It comes in at 86 grams without a battery. We have an LED and buzzer board which is connected to the VBAT and the DIN, but it's just held on with some hot glue, and I've got no doubt whatsoever that that will just come apart. At the back we have a XT30 connector, and then at the front we have what looks like the FuryBee MS CCD camera, which has performed okay in the past. I think it's the same camera that was on the FuryBee X140. It doesn't quite perform as well as a run cam, but it's not bad. And the camera is really nicely protected as well for the triggered squad out there, but I think these top horns are completely unnecessary. I think if they clip those off, we could run perhaps a battery along the top or a Mobius Mini, but we can't because we've got these silly things here. So the VTX is running a sleeve dipole antenna out of the back, which connects using a micro UFL connector. There's a button on the side of it to change the power output and the band and the channels, but you aren't given a channel chart or any instructions whatsoever. So look up the ARVTX 20200 and it uses a sequence of light to tell you what it's doing. Yeah, this VTX has been used in a couple of other models, and again, it generally performs pretty well. Now, I didn't get anything else in the box other than a spare set of props, and these props which you have to screw on, and you get given a battery strap. I've added a silicone mat, otherwise it would just throw a battery. Yep, so you'll need to do that. And it came with a very old version of Betaflight, so I've upgraded that to the latest. The target is the SP Racing F3, and it had a bit of setup in there like the modes, the arming and the buzzer that was already in place, and it's got some LEDs programmed in there as well. And there are some stock PIDs which I don't think are going to work very well as the gains look really high, so those will need changing. And funnily enough, the stock layout of MultiWii on-screen display is very similar to how I like my on-screen display to be positioned, but it does have a couple of things that I wanted to remove, so I'll show you how to do that. The first thing that you need to do actually is plug your battery into your copter and then look through the goggles. It'll tell you the version of MultiWii on-screen display. With this one it's 1.6. You'll then need to go onto the website and download that configurator, which I have got here. You'll then need to plug the copter into the computer before opening this, otherwise it won't register your COM port and you have to close it down and open it again. So first of all we need to go into Betaflight, and I'll take you into the port. Now you'll notice here on the UART2 it's got configuration/MSP here on the UART2, and that is so the on-screen display and Betaflight can talk to each other. So that's how I know that the on-screen display is on UART2. We need to know that because what we're going to do is a serial pass-through, and it's basically the same thing that BL Suite does to access your ESCs, except that does it automatically. If we go into the CLI, I'm going to paste this command in. So it is serial pass-through, and then we've got a number. This number relates to the UART, so unfortunately in the CLI it does not go in sequence, so UART1 is 0, UART2 is 1, and UART3 is 2. So this is UART2, so I want the number to be 1. And then we've got the baud rate as well, or baud rate, however you like to say it. So if I press enter in there, it will go into pass-through mode, and then what I need to do is disconnect from here and then go into MultiWii on-screen display. Now, you'll need to plug your battery into the copter because, just like a receiver, it is not being powered off the USB. Well, not in every case anyways, and it's the same for the on-screen display, so the battery will actually power it up. It will just keep flashing if you don't do that. So if I now go into COM3, you'll see the on-screen display populated, and it had some of the horizon stuff on there that I don't like to use, like horizon bar. So I turned that off, and I turned the voltage alarm down a little bit as well, because I don't want that flashing away there. And then you can just do right, and yeah, that's how you can get into multi-beat on-screen display using pass-through. Okay, let's have a see what this guy is like on 2S. So I've given it my own custom tune because the stock tune wasn't right, and actually low gains was causing it to judder. Let's have a look what the punch is like. Yeah, performance is pretty good, and that's hardly surprising really, I guess, with those higher kV motors. I mean, it's not mind-blowing, but at least it's not blowing up. Famous last words there, isn't it? So, yeah, I really think, you know, we could have done 3S, but they need to put some ESCs on there that can cope with it. Yeah, this is a pretty rubbish 2-cell battery as well. I don't really have many 2-cell batteries that run an XT30. Be interesting to see if these motors are getting warm. The tune seems alright. You know, it's a squished X frame. They always require a slightly different tune. Usually require a little bit more eye gain on the pitch. And this one was interesting. It needed low P gains on the roll and fairly high gains on the pitch. And, you know, still just a line of sight tune that I've done. See if we can see any bounce. I think I saw a little bit of bounce there. Might just be oscillations. Now you can see the LED's okay. As I say, performance not mind-blowing on a 2S, but not terrible either. I think I'm going to be able to do, you know, acro and everything fine. And it's flying fine, line of sight. Okay, see if we've got any drift in angle mode. I don't think so. Okay, let's bring it in. I just want to check the temperature of these motors. Yeah, absolutely fine, although it's cool out here. I did actually check them indoors. I did a little hover test on a 2-cell indoors, and I did a little hover test on a 3-cell, and they got burning hot. So 2-cell for this guy. Okay, let's try some FPV with this guy on 2S. Picture looks nice. I have set out a speed trap, but I'd be very surprised if it picked anything up. It's wobbling about, so it seems like it needs some work on the tune. Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit of bounce. You know, difficult one to tune, this one. It's windy as well here today. And yeah, it doesn't seem that fast. Look how the battery's sagging. Yeah, lots of battery sag, so it will fly on a 2S. But you know, if you are getting this, get a decent 2S. These are rubbish. Quite a lot of the time there's just not enough C rating there, and I usually get a brownout, so I'm expecting to see that at the end of the flight. but it's alright for now. Yeah, I haven't had the chance to have many flights with this. It's one of those days where it's just raining all day and the sun comes out, and then I grab the model. So yeah, not the most power on 2S, but the video's looking nice. And that's all I can say, really. You know, this should have been a 3S beast, and they're saying that you can use a 3S. Yeah, as you see, it browned out there, and my on-screen display has disappeared. And there you go, it's come back. Yeah, ZOP batteries. They're very cheap, and the 4-cell ones aren't too bad, but yeah, they sag like crazy, and they're not that good. So it's the only 2-cell battery I've got with an XT30. And there you go. But what I think I'm going to do is, seeing as like this review's coming to an end, why not just stick a 3-cell battery on here? It's browned out there. We're going to stick a 3-cell battery on, and let's see if the end of this review can go up in smoke. So yeah, it's coming for a landing, and I will do that. Okay, let's try 3S with this guy. See if we have any spoke too soon. We have a flip of death. Well, I plugged a 3S in and it started ticking. It's never a good sign. But let's try and see what happens. Yeah, there's one motor not spinning. Look at that, after just plugging a back. It does not take a 3-cell battery. So there you go, that is my review of the Everwing Cyclone. I would say, unless you want to run it on 2S and it doesn't perform great on 2S, then avoid. So as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.